and welcome to the exciting world of hydroflight sports. That's the general term for flying with pressurized water. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to have a safe and fun experience on the X-Board flight deck by Flydive, the world's most advanced hydroflight system. The X-Board is a first of its kind, a hydroflight board designed from the ground up to give a novice rider the most friendly and stable flight experience possible, whether you're new to water sports or an accomplished boater. Within 5 to 10 minutes, everyone can achieve stable flight even if you're not in the best shape of your life. Before we get into flying, let's cover a few requirements for the flyer. First, you must be at least 10 years old, over 4 foot 10 inches tall, and weigh at least 65 pounds. Smaller flyers often have a hard time maneuvering the board while in the water. Also, all flyers must be sober. Drugs and alcohol don't mix well with water sports, and this is no exception. You should also discuss any recent or major injuries with your instructor before hitting the water to avoid any surprises. Next, let's cover your equipment. As with all water sports, you'll need to wear a U.S. Coast Guard certified personal flotation device, or PFD, while in or near the water. Foot protection is always a good idea while on boat ramps, docks, or beaches. Lastly, always protect your head with a water sports specific helmet. These have ear flaps to help protect your ears from water in case of a fall. Some even have speakers and a microphone for two-way communication between the driver and the flyer. Speaking of falls, hydroflight is a very safe sport, but as with any sport, accidents can happen if you try to fly beyond your skill level. Every Flydive certified instructor has a comprehensive safety and rescue plan. Talk with your instructor if you'd like to learn more about it. Great, now before we get into the specifics of how to fly, here's a quick explanation of how this all works. This regular personal watercraft, or PWC, has been modified by replacing the steering nozzle with a metal tube shaped like a U. When the driver hits the gas, instead of the water shooting out the steering nozzle, its U turned forwards into a flexible hose, not so different from a fire hose. This means the PWC has no thrust or steering of its own. 65 feet later, the hose connects to the board, or a jetpack, with a quick release connector, including a free spinning hose bearing. The flyer attaches their feet to the board with wakeboard-style boots, and as they fly forward, they tow the PWC behind them. This means the flyer is completely in charge of the steering, while the driver controls the throttle. This makes communication between the driver and flyer super important. It's recommended to have your first flight with an experienced instructor on the throttle. They've been trained to make sure your learning curve is quick, easy, and most importantly, safe. And they'll help guide you while in the water or air. Communication is key to having a good time in hydroflight, and voices can be drowned out by engines. So your instructors will often use hand signals to communicate. Follow your instructor's signals to avoid obstacles, shallow water, or other dangers you may not be aware of. If they point their finger and pump their arm, they want you to fly in that direction. A finger circling above the head means this is a good flight zone to circle around. If your instructor needs to communicate but can't get your attention, they'll reduce thrust or lower you into the water. While in the water, try not to drift too far away so you can hear each other. During your first flight, your instructor will carefully control the throttle to keep you in a safe zone a few feet above the water. As you gain control and confidence, they'll give you more throttle to help you progress. You can help guide them with hand signals as well if you're feeling a little nervous or getting confident. Thumbs up means you're ready to fly or want more throttle. Thumbs down for less throttle. If you're ready for a break, slash your finger across your throat. You can let your instructor know you're okay and want to keep going by touching your fingertips to your head. Now let's get to the board itself. Flydive X-Board has been designed from the ground up to be easy to fly for the average person. Bindings are mounted on separate thrust vectoring nozzles, giving all riders from beginner to pro the ability to balance and turn using their ankles independently. 2 pairs of mounting holes offer shorter flyers and narrower stance option. The flyer balances and controls the steering of the board using mostly their lower body. Small ankle and knee movements are all that are needed to adjust the jets to keep your balance, just like standing on dry land. If you find yourself falling over forwards, push down with your toes. This will make your feet thrust forward to catch you. Do the opposite if you're falling backwards and lift your toes. If you're falling sideways, always turn your upper body to face the fall direction and lift your outside foot by bending your knee. First timers often do the opposite and twist away from the fall, or claw uphill, but this doesn't work. It's too late. Once you're falling a direction, you're going to keep going that direction until you get your feet back underneath you. As you begin to gain control, make sure you keep a proud, upright posture, hips forward and knees slightly bent. Don't look down and try to keep moving forward slowly. Now we've talked about how to balance, but first you have to get in the water and taxi to your flying location. Slip your boots on and make sure they're laced up tight. You want your feet to feel snug in the boots, otherwise you will have a hard time controlling the jets. Make sure you're wearing your PFDN helmet and push your way into deeper water or hop off the dock. You'll notice that everything floats on its own and will not try to sink you. Roll onto your stomach and keep your legs extended behind you, and arch your back. This is called the taxi position, and you should maintain this position while you're in the water. As the instructor starts the motor and applies throttle, you may feel a slight pull from the hose as it fills with water, but after a second or two, you'll feel the push of the jets on your feet. Push back with your feet, keeping your legs strong, and don't let the jets push your knees up to your chest. This is the opposite of wakeboarding. Aim yourself towards your flying area. Keep your back arched and roll your body side to side like an airplane to turn while in the water. This is a great time to experiment with your ankle controls. Lifting your toes on one foot and pushing down the other will make you roll a little in the water, or it'll make you spin once you're flying in the air. Pushing both feet toes down, or bending your knees slightly, will make your feet sink deeper and raise your chest up out of the water. Or, lifting both your feet toes up will raise your feet behind you and aim you down for a dive. Try a couple small dives to get used to it while you're taxiing to your flight zone. Lift your toes hard rather than bending too much at the waist, or you could somersault. Make sure you look up and arch your back once underwater to return to the surface. Try not to dive too deep, or you could damage your ears. Once you've taxied to your flight zone and you're ready to fly, first make sure there's no tension in the hose. Pulling the PWC behind you creates a lot of drag, and the tugging on your feet makes balancing much harder. You'll notice when the hose pulls tight during flight, your feet will feel like they're stuck in the mud while you're still falling over forwards. Pushing your toes down cannot fix this problem. We call this the dog chain, and you'll feel a lot less silly if you just stay within your leash length. Circle around closer to the PWC to keep a bend in the hose, and you'll have a much easier time. Slower flying is easier to get the hang of for this same reason. Once you have hose slack, you need to get the board underneath you so that you can use the thrust to lift you up. Point your toes down and bend your knees slightly. Try to lean back a little with your upper body, and this will force the board down below you. Once it's underneath you, straighten your back and knees and flatten your feet. Point those jets straight down, and you should rise straight up out of the water. Congratulations on your first flight! You may instinctively wave your arms to try to balance, but try to focus instead on your ankles and knees. The arms don't do much and can be distracting, so you may even want to grab the front of your life jacket if you can't hold them still. If you get nervous and want to come down, give your instructor a thumbs down, but make sure you keep your upright posture. Sitting down or bending sharply is the fastest way to flip yourself upside down. As you fly, try to keep moving forward slowly and make wide circles to keep some slack in the hose. But avoid sharp U-turns, or you will find yourself on a collision course with the PWC, kind of like a giant game of Snake. Remember, the PWC has no steering control, so it can't avoid you. If you fall near it, once your head pops back up, find the PWC and point your feet at it to protect the rest of your body. Keep your head up. Don't look down. Instead, try to look at something a few hundred feet ahead of you. Keep your shoulders down and back, and your hips forward, and you'll be flying like a pro in no time. At first, your turns will be mostly just to catch your balance. But when you're ready to start controlling your own turns, imagine yourself on a bicycle. You have to lean the direction you want to go first. Bend one knee at a time to turn while flying forwards. We call these carving turns, and they work the best during forward flight. However, if you slow down and hover, you can try the other type of turn the X-board was designed for: spin turns. The continuous rotating bearing at the board will let you spin as much as you want without twisting up the hose. Just hover above the hose, twist your ankles in opposite directions, and look over your shoulder. You can even do a spin turn while you're diving. Just be sure that every time you try a trick, you're leaning away from the PWC first. As you begin to gain confidence, your instructor will give you more throttle, but be careful to keep your distance from the PWC. You'll find that with more throttle, the board gets more responsive and drag from the hose and PWC feels less significant. Although circles may be the easiest way to learn, they're not the only way to avoid getting dog-chained. You can break the circle once you've gained control of the board. The trick is to always keep the hose curved somehow, to keep some slack in it. Zigzagging is one way to help you cover some distance without losing control. If you'd like to try some more advanced maneuvers, chat with your instructor first about the safest way to try it.